Dear viewers, wherever you are, hello and welcome to this new episode of your program, Love Spectra. Living in romance, tranquility, serenity, and mutual understanding with the ones we love is the ultimate goal of any relationship. Yet, as much as we want this is not something that we always achieve. And again, some people would argue that romance and feelings alone are not sufficient. They would not really suffice for you to have a permanent relationship, a lifelong relationship. And on the other hand, some people might argue if there are any differences between you and your spouse, this might lead to the destruction and the doom of this relationship. So how true or untrue are these things being blown out of proportion? Is there a lot of exaggeration? Is there a lot of overestimation or underestimation in these things? And if there are specific factors that we should look for, what are these factors? To shed more light on all of these points, I'm really delighted to be accompanied by Karim Bendeli, the life coach. Karim, hello and welcome to the program.
Well, hello, Mohammed, and thank you for having me again in the program. I'm very humbled by this invitation.
It's always a great pleasure to have you with us. So, Karim, to start off, in very, very simple English, what is a successful relationship? Just a summary of your understanding of a successful relationship.
Well, through my coaching, I've been coaching some couples, and the rate of successful, it's really something that's it's asking a lot of deep work between two people, because if we just stay in the surface of things, chances are that to have a long-lasting relationship, it's more difficult. But when we go more deep in connection with the other person, we have more chances to have a long-lasting relationship. There is no guarantee, of course. We are talking about having more chances to have a long relationship. Now, just to go more into explaining what I mean by that, in NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, we have a structure that allow us to, when we talk with the client, when they have an objective, we go through this, we call it the logical levels, and we can see by asking certain questions, we can see where there are blockages for this particular person. And by the way, I'm going to share that with you, but it also works for a group or for a business venture.
Okay, so just to clarify things here, are we talking quantity or quality when we're talking about a successful relationship? So is there a specific percentage of factors that must align with one another that must be identical in both partners? So both of them, for example, like the same kind of music, the same kind of colors, whatever. Both of them are calm people, more of them are like type A personalities. So is it how many things are similar or what things are similar? So is it quality or quantity that really matters?
Well, I'll tell you what matters is that we acknowledge the difference. We acknowledge that the other person is different than us, doesn't have to have the same, the same kind of things that they like. They don't have to be both calm, as you were saying. The answer to that, it's understand the other one, know where that person is coming from, and find a way to live with with the connection. And when connection doesn't mean that we have to be the same. Connection means that we communicate, we are able to communicate our needs, we are able to communicate what's important to us, what's important to one person and what's important to the other person, and acknowledge that that's it's important for the other person.
And here the degree of contrast, Karim. So like, are we talking about like yin yang, like, you know, black and white, positive and negative, north and south pole? So completely, you know, different and distant poles here. Is this very healthy to have a complete contrast? So what is the extent, or what are again, quantity or quality of differences that might be very healthy? And when will we have the flag? So when you know, like, when should we be really concerned if the percentage of differences goes beyond this threshold? And if it's less than this threshold, it's considered healthy.
Well, we are human beings, right? So it's very difficult to say the exact tipping point. It's really something that every single person will decide and feel within themselves. But you would agree with me to say that it's better to prevent than to be in that situation. So there are some steps that when two people meet, there are some steps to know each other better at a deeper level. And when we know when we know each other at a deeper level, again, we have more chances to be together and to build a life together. Versus if we are just, you know, on the surface, then it's more precarious. Now, if you are already in a relationship and the prevention was not there for any reason, and now there is trouble, then it's never too late to share the deepest things that are important for each of the person, and to share it and see if it matches. And if it does, then you will find a new balance. And if it's not, well, then you have to find a new balance somewhere else. So it's really communication of these deep conversations.
Okay, so let's divide maybe our conversation into two parts, like before and after. So there are some people who are watching us now, they don't have a like a lifelong commitment yet, and they don't have this lifelong relationship, and there are others who already have it. So let's talk first about those who are considering that. So what things should I look for? What are the fundamental and most profoundly important things that I should look for in my partner? What things are a must and what things are optional?
Okay, so if you think about the partner that you want, so are you saying that you want to meet a partner,
Yes,
right?
someone who
All
doesn't
right.
have a partner yet.
All
Exactly.
right. Okay. Yeah. So the first thing is that you have to know what you're looking for,
Okay.
right? Because it's more clear. You're gonna know exactly what you're looking for. And when I say looking for, of course, you can say I want a slim person that's beautiful, that's always well dressed up.
Mhm.
That's when people look at her, they look that person, she or he looks amazing, right?
That's the superficial physical features of partner.
Exactly. So when you ask yourself, what do I want? Yes, you can write these things, but there are other things that are more important and deep that you should know what you exactly want. Because when you go more deeper in the things that you want, you'll be surprised sometimes that what's coming in front of you may maybe not look the way you think, but
Mhm.
inside it's the right person for you in deep.
So the difference between what I want and what I need. So what I need can you know, what I need and what I want don't always match. So I can want something that is bad for me, and
Exactly.
vice versa.
Because you don't go deep enough. But when you go deep enough, then you can see that there is more than what the eye can see,
Okay.
right? And that's key. That's key.
So,
Now,
yeah, please go ahead.
yeah, earlier I was talking about the logical levels, which is because because the metaphor that I want to show your viewers is the iceberg. It's the image of the iceberg. But
And
before I talk to you,
share it whenever you want me to. Yeah, I'll share it
yeah.
whenever you want.
So when before we talk about the iceberg, that's going to be more clear for your viewers. You have to understand the logical levels,
Mm-hmm.
which is and I'm going to ask you to show the picture. And as you can see, it's a pyramid. Okay, so it's in fact it's a system. It's a system for us to see where the person is has blockage, right? So the first level is the environment. So it's where things are happening in people's life. The second level, it's behavior, which is what are we doing in the environment. The third level, it's competencies and capabilities. So what are we capable of doing? And then you have the next level, which is your beliefs and values. So this is, what do you believe and why do you do certain things?
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, you have your identity, who you are. And on the top, you have your purpose. So this is the logical levels that we listen to the client, and we are able to see at which level in their lives they are stuck, and then we can work on it. Now, the beautiful thing about this pyramid is that whatever you work on, it will have an impact on every level that are below. So you don't need to work on each of the level. It's wherever you work, it's going to have an impact on everything. Okay,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
that's the pyramid. Now, in relationship, some of the coaches said, well, you know what, if we flip the pyramid and it becomes an iceberg. So in an iceberg, you have you can see with the eye, and what's below, it's something you don't see. So that's what I was telling you earlier. When you look at somebody, you see with your eyes, it's above the water. And what's deep, it's below the water that you don't see. So I don't know if can you show the image of the iceberg?
Yes, definitely, definitely. I'll
All
share
right.
that with my viewers. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
thank you. So if you're looking at this image, you can see with the level that I just explained to you, now it's upside down, and you have on top the environment and the behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and now we are looking at for a relationship, right? So environment, it's about, if you are a person that loves to be surrounded by beauty, somebody that loves to be surrounded with money, with people speaking the same language, or a certain community, or something, uh, a group of a certain age. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Right. So these are, when you were asking me earlier, uh, what are the criteria? Well, what we see. So this person is looking for somebody that's beautiful, that maybe somebody wants somebody with money. But these are all things I say outside the skin.
Hmm.
So it's the outside. So that's what we call the environment. Okay, so it's important. Like you want to have stability in money, or you want to have somebody that's handsome or beautiful. But
But
we are up there.
again, there should be some kind of match, you would say, like in terms of looks, social class, or even socioeconomic class between like these things are not maybe so profound, but um, don't you think they play a factor? So if
Of
I
course they do. Yeah,
fall
they do.
someone from a very different socioeconomic class than mine, so if someone has a much higher or a much lower socioeconomic class than mine,
Mhm.
uh, again, there is a big discrepancy in our physical appearance
Mhm.
to her advantage or to my advantage. Do you think that
Yeah.
this, um, how important these things are?
Well, the thing is that because they are just it's above the water.
Hmm.
So if you only see the things that are above the water, chances are that you have less chances that it's going to last. There's no guarantee. You have to go deeper,
Okay,
right?
just
So
your
if you
tip of the iceberg. You need to go, yeah.
you need to go deeper, even if you like what you see, even if you don't like what you see, right? But some people, in some cultures, your parents can say, okay, it's arranged marriage, and you're going to get married to that person. And when you look at that person, well, physically you don't like that person, right? But you still have to marry her or him. And then when you go deeper, we're going to talk about it. When you go deeper, well, maybe the match is there,
Okay.
and maybe the match is not there. So it really depends in each situation. So what I'm saying is that don't stop at what you see only.
And this is a like common argument in many cultures between parents and their children is that
Mhm.
the parents tell their child that I know what you need, not what you want. I don't care about what you want, but because I really love you, I care about what you need. This woman or this man is exactly what you need and
Mhm.
not what you want because for the parents, they don't have this form of like sexual lust or romance towards this person. They're just using their mind. So they're analyzing that person from a 100% neutral and objective, point of view. While you're
Mhm.
being very subjective, you care so much about, the sex appeal and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, parents, they will do. It's their role as parents. It's for them. It's their intention is with love. It's because they want to take care of. They want to make sure that their daughter or their son is with the right person, and they see according to their criteria. Now, if the son or the daughter has the same criteria, and there is communication between the parents and the child and the children, then it's fine. But it's when there is a conflict. This is where communication is important, because it shouldn't have be we shouldn't have a miscommunication between child and parents, because that's going to create a base of maybe not happiness for that person. But there is no guarantee either way. Okay, because after that, the work that the person has to do is the couple. It's not going to be the parents. It's going to be the couple that's going to have to do the deep work and see if there is a match
Okay, so
and
now
there is an understanding.
the deeper part of the iceberg. So, which part should we really emphasize the most? Or or most importantly, actually, how can I test these points? What is my litmus paper here that I can
Yeah.
test the water with?
You see, I think that whatever is on top, right, it's the first step, right? Because this is what we are attracted to as a human being. When we see a person, we like their eyes, or we like their smile, or we like their body, or that's it's always the first thing that we are attracted to. I would say the most important thing, it's the values. And when I say about values, it's what's important. What's important for me? What's important to the other person? And this is by talking, by asking questions, of course, in a conversation, and see what's important. Uh, you see, for me, let's think about somebody that's family is very important. The value of family is very important, and maybe because family means his parents, brothers and sisters, and he wants to create a family, or she wants to create a family.
Mm-hmm.
And the other person is like, oh my God, I had such a bad experience with family. I don't want family.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right? So this is something important.
So values and beliefs as well, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
um,
Because, and that conversation has to happen. And I'm just talking about family. It can be about money also. One person can say, you know what, for me, having a lot of money, and so we can travel, we can do this and that and that and that, and I want a big mansion and I want all this. And the other person is like, you know what, for me, it's just to be happy in a small house. I don't want any headaches. I don't want all this.
okay, okay.
You see, and so this is the values and beliefs, and it's important to know that.
So it's more important to have a match in values and beliefs than skills and capabilities because, we have environment, behavior, then
Yeah.
skills and capabilities, and then values and beliefs. So,
Well, yes. Well, what I would say is skills and capabilities are more important than behavior because, you know, silly example, right? Uh, a couple, and then the the man, let's say, he wants a wife that knows how to cook because he always ate the food, his mom's food, and he just loves that.
okay,
And she's a career woman, and she said, I hate cooking
okay, okay.
and I'm not going to cook. So it's very silly. But these are the problems that can come up in a couple because we didn't talk about it. I hate cooking. I love home food, right? So that conversation of skills and capabilities, it's just it's just under the water.
And isn't this also connected to environment as well? Like, because it's the tip and the bottom of the iceberg, but it's all one body. So I see that, like the environment, my socioeconomic, situation would definitely affect my behavior, and then
Mm-hmm.
would also enable me to have more skills and capabilities or less skills and capabilities. For instance, okay, let's say that um, I'm, like you have a polyglot who speaks 5, 6, 7 languages, is married to a man or woman who speaks only their mother tongue. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the skills or capabilities.
Yeah.
But but again, she might have had this, like she was a polyglot because of the environment she grew in. She had
Mm-hmm.
parents from different backgrounds, grandparents from different backgrounds, and but at the end of the day, if I'm her spouse, I'd be sitting most of the time just watching people talk in a foreign language, and like the her social circle would definitely be much bigger than mine,
Mhm.
and and so on and so forth. And then I think her pool of values and beliefs would be much wider than mine because she's exposed to more cultures, more situations. So they're all tangled. I think there is incredible, like there is a very strong bond between all of them.
Yeah,
Um,
but the thing is that, okay, we're talking about one example of languages, right? But then the other person, maybe she's in education.
mhm.
She has a lot of knowledge about education. And so she has skills and capabilities. And she meets other educators and she knows how to talk about it. And the other person is like, oh, yes, I speak all these languages, but I don't know. I know nothing. I know nothing about education. So you
Mhm.
see, it's everybody. That's why it's very important to talk about what's important to you. What do you love in life? Okay, what are the values? What do you value? What are your beliefs? Okay, maybe do you I want to live in the countryside, or I prefer to live in a city.
Oh,
Well, these are all conversation that these are deeper level conversation that can have have an impact on a longer, more chances, right, to have a long lasting relationship. And then on the bottom, which is deep, is the identity. Who am I?
okay.
Who am I? Who are you? Right? And also then there is also the mission in life,
Mhm.
right? Your purpose in life. Now imagine that a person falls in love with someone that's a doctor, let's say, and his mission in life, well, it's that he's Médecins Sans Frontières,
Mhm.
and he's gonna go half the year.
So
He's out there helping people.
doctors without borders, beyond borders. Yeah,
Yes,
doctors
yeah,
without borders.
right. So maybe he's gone for 6 months. Well, know that before. Not imagine that he's a doctor or he's going to make a lot of money. He's going to be at home, and and this and that. Well, you know what? He's going to be gone 6 months, a year, because that's his mission. You better know that and be okay with that. Find a way. And if you're not okay with that because that's not what you're looking for, well, then he's not the person that you want to be with, because that's not what you want in your life.
And can this explain to us this enigma or like very strange thing that a lot of people would see a couple who are like very happily married or like have a very strong bond, and people would say like, what does he see in her or what does she see in him? Like because they're a mismatch, completely mismatched. The way they look, the way they dress, the way, like, their socioeconomic classes are very different. They might even have like different religions, different, cultural backgrounds, yet they are like they act as if they are match made in heaven, although superficially or like for the eye of the beholder, they're a mismatch. So
Yeah.
might that be the identity here? So I am a person who fights for human rights. This is my mission, my goal. This is how I see
Mm-hmm.
myself, and this is how she sees herself. So it doesn't matter anything else. It doesn't matter because we meet at the roots. So the roots from which we stem out are identical.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we can't say for certain what we see. We see a mismatch, but they are still together and everything. So it can be two things. It can be that at the deeper level, they are sharing the same values. They are accepting each other identity, right? And they are living in acceptance of each other, right? Or, you know, maybe there is no connection. Maybe they're just faking it in front of everybody. Like maybe they're together because they have no choice,
So
whatever the reason.
to put it in another way, like, please correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I see it again, um, from a different perspective, like just like the iceberg has environment, behavior, skills and capability, then values and beliefs, and then at the very bottom, identity. And the deeper, the lower we are, the most important. So the way I just see it now, I see it like a tree. So the identity are like the roots, the values and the beliefs are like the bark or the stem, and
Yeah,
then skills and capabilities are like, the branches, behaviors are the sub branches, and environment are like the leaves. So in the fall, trees can shed their leaves to keep the most important. The most important thing is the stem and the bark. And of course, without the roots, the plant will be dead.
yeah.
So
And with the metaphor that you just share, imagine a couple that's going through a rough time, and it happens. A rough time because of the environment. We had COVID, where everybody was stuck at home and all these things, or one of them loses his job or her job, has an impact. But they're going to go through it because exactly what you mentioned, the roots and the tree is strong, it's well rooted, that we can resist any wind, anything that's happening in life, because things will happen.
So now, Kareem, we talked about the person who's looking for like a spouse or like a partner of life. But how about if I'm married to someone now, or if I have a like partner in life, and when I look at this tree or this iceberg now, and say, say, hey, you know what? Um, I have very, very thin, fine roots. My roots are not that strong and profound. Or, you know what? I don't have any roots.
Mhm.
Or like, the trunk or the bark of the tree is very shallow, or it's very thin. The branches are broken. The Is there a way we can mend this? Is there a way we can grow the roots? Is there a fertilizer, in other words, that
Yeah,
can,
you
or is
you
that
called you called Dr. Green. No, but it's no, definitely. At least it's totally possible to uh, either to reconnect our values and everything that maybe we forgot because we grew apart. Okay, um, or never never had deeper conversation between us to talk about what was important to us. So each other, we don't know what's important to you, I don't know what's important, it's we don't know. So it's never too late to start the conversation, to build, to rebuild, and in the process it's going to come to where it's going to build or it's not going to build.
so? Again, so looking at this tree or this iceberg, so I had a conversation with my spouse or with my partner, and then we found, hey, you know what? Our environment, there is a match in the environment, there is a match in the behavior, there is a match in the skills and capability. there is a good mismatch, actually, quite a mismatch in values and beliefs, and our identity is like night and day. Does this mean curtains, the end for this relationship, or is there a way out?
There is always a way out if there is a willingness to
Mm-hmm.
make it work.
Okay.
All right. So if you read, but you can have the willingness. If both parties should have the willingness to make it work, then there is hope, right? But if there is no willingness, then of course there's no hope. And even if you have the willingness, it's possible that you reach a point where both parties say, you know what, I think it's better that we move on. But
Mm-hmm.
then there's no hard feelings because it's a common decision that, you know what, it's better not. And usually when there is that willingness, well, couples, they seek for somebody, a third party, to be there, a professional, to help that conversation, because if that conversation never happened before, the two people, they don't know how.
So, Kareem, my last question to you, and I think maybe an extremely important one to sum it all up. So, let's say, okay, you have now a couple that's coming to you, and they tell you, Kareem, you know what? Yeah, we have the same, maybe the part of the iceberg above the water, or our leaves and branches are okay, but the core is really in very bad shape. So, um, would you advise them to compromise, or would you advise them to give each other more space to breathe, or what would be your number one prescription to them?
Well, the way I work, I work on the deeper level. So I work on values and identity.
Mm,
That's what I work on. Because remember in the beginning when I say about the pyramid, if you work on identity and beliefs, it's going to have an impact on the rest. And environment, it's your life, it's your home, it's all. So I focus on identity. So identity of each person and the beliefs of each person.
mhm.
And if and this is when you know who you are and you know what's important to you, and the other person knows who she is or he is and knows his or her values, right? Automatically they will know if they're meant to be together to continue their lives, because now they have some clarity about themselves. Because in a relationship, you are responsible for yourself to the relationship. And that's very important. You are not responsible for what the other person is feeling. You are responsible for yourself to the relationship. So once they know each other themselves, they know their value, they know their identity, they will know. It's not me who's going to tell them.
Now, maybe the second last question here definitely is that okay? So, you know what? We had a conversation, or I had a deep, um, like a moment with myself, and I found out that no, it's a mismatch. We cannot continue. How can we end this peacefully? Because this is the most important thing, especially if you have children, and you don't want to hurt the feelings of the children. So, how can we just break this bond in a civilized, peaceful way?
Well, I'll tell you that I'm going to answer the same thing. When what happens when the couples they stop, and it's ending badly, right? where people can be hurt. It's because that the work hasn't been done prior. So when you know who you are and you know your values, right? It's gonna be peaceful because each person will understand because they're going through the same process of knowing who they are. And if one doesn't see the matching, I can guarantee you the other one won't see it either. And at the end, in fact, they're gonna work together peacefully for the kids, for whatever.
Absolutely, absolutely. Karim, I really can't thank you enough for all the great information you provided us with today, and really looking forward to having you time and again with us. Thank you very much for your precious time.
Well, thank you, Mohammed, for inviting me, and I hope everything I share it's going to be helpful to your viewers.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you very much again.
Thank you.
Now, dear viewers, if we were sort of to sum up and come to a conclusion here, you know, again, it's always said that you know, prevention is much better than curing. So it's much better to prevent than to have the problem and cure it. So it's about time now, if you have a partner in your life, is to have this conversation, have this honest conversation, whether it's an interpersonal conversation between you and your partner, or even an intrapersonal conversation between you and yourself. And, you know, we can fool other people, but if we have this moment with ourselves away from all the distortions, we'll see the true picture. You know who you are. So you really need to ask yourself, who am I and what do I really want in life? So starting from the bottom up and not from the top down. So starting at the roots here, like what is my identity? What are my values and my beliefs, you know, and what are my skills? And then later on, environment and behavior, I would consider that later. And now, if there is a match, then good and well, life is great. And then if there's a mismatch in the superficial part, this is something we can really talk about and can be fixed over time, because we have the most valuable part. We should not, you know, jeopardize the most valuable part for just minor things. But on the other hand, if you have no roots at all, and you know the trunk or the bark of the tree is absolutely broken, and you have no stem here at all, then it's time really to reconsider. Are you willing to change? Are you willing, maybe for children, for other factors, are you willing to change? Are you willing to compromise? But again, if you compromise, how much can you compromise? And can you compromise all the time? For how long can you compromise? Now, because unfortunately, the inevitable outcome of not doing that is having grudges and, you know, turning the relationship from a civilized, um, humane one into a very, you know, barbaric relationship. I'm sorry to say, many times it becomes so barbaric, so out of bounds, and you have grudges, and you hurt each other so profoundly and deeply that it would be so hard to mend and to cure later on. And this, of course, will backfire on you as a person, on your children, etc., etc., etc. Again, if you do not have a spouse, you don't have a partner, before you go there, first thing is explore your own tree, explore your own iceberg before you go and sit with that person. Because this iceberg, and especially the part that is under the water, tells you what you need. Because To continue your life with someone, this person must satisfy and must complement and must supplement what you need and not what you want. If what you want is what you need, perfect. That would be ideal. Dear viewers, until we meet again, I thank you very much, and please take very good care. Thanks for watching.